man? Welcome to Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, man, we are now at the conference championship games. Bro, man, the playoffs have been wild so far, and I have been so excited. And, bro, like I said at the beginning of the year, bro, this year was so wide open. I have no idea what's going to happen next. I'm going to give you my best analysis on those things. But, man, hey, in this episode, obviously we're going to talk about the conference championship games. We also are going to be going over what happened in the divisional games, and we're going to just touch on all the teams that lost in the wild card games. And of course, we got to talk about the coaching hirings that are now taking place. So those are the things that we're going to be focused on this episode. It's going to be a pretty straightforward episode with those kind of things, because there ain't nothing too crazy going on right now because we're in this part of the NFL season. So, man, let's go ahead and get to the news of the coaching hirings. Man, we have the Tennessee Titans hiring Bryce Callahan, the offensive coordinator from the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's a solid hire. It's a solid hire. It's not bad. I don't think it's great, but it's good. I mean, Callahan has shown that he's shown that his offensive scheme really can do something for your team. And he showed that based on what he done this year with the Cincinnati Bengals. He lost his star quarterback. His backup quarterback had to come in and play. None of us knew nothing about him, but yet Jake Browning had a really good year considering what he is. A really good year. So that means that offensive coordinator was truly coaching and grooming and bringing that guy up to speed. So if Tennessee really trusts Will Levis like that, he may be a guy that might be able to get Will Levis to another level. And that could be great for the Tennessee Titans. Because then now you get your franchise quarterback, and now you could build upon that. Because Derrick Henry's definitely gone. You're starting completely over. New regime, you're starting over. So all those guys, you're clearing house. And he should have been gone last year. I don't know why they kept him. They should have traded him. It probably was more of a fight between Mike Vrabel and the GM about whether to let him go or not. Because Mike Vrabel, he ain't going to be here for no rebuild as we see. So I think it's a good hire by the Tennessee Titans. The next team I want to talk about their hiring is the Raiders. And them bringing back Antonio Pierce. I think that was by far the best decision. As you guys know, I said that was the job that he should have gotten. Man, bro, he did great at the end of the year last year. He did great managing that roster, managing that team, especially after after Josh McDaniels done to that roster. So, man, that was a great hire. Max Crosby's happy. Your stars are happy. I still think that they should let go of Davante Adams. Get something back. Your offense has work to do. You need to build them. They're not going to be a playoff team this year. This is a team that's like 2, maybe 3 years away from really being able to make some noise. So, I mean, go ahead and get rid of Davante Adams. Get what you could get for him and start building upon that. The last team that made an actual hiring so far is the New England Patriots, and them just pretty much going straight to Gerard Mayo. It's a good hire. My only issue is I don't know why you give up Bill Belichick then. I don't know why. Outside of just that, now you don't have to talk to Bill about not being the GM anymore. But, I mean, Gerard Mayo, all we know about him is that he is a Patriot through and through. And obviously Bill Belichick is one of his guys. So the likelihood is that I'm assuming, this is strictly assumption, I'm assuming that he's going to do things a lot like Bill did. He's probably going to be a little better in the locker room and with the team as far as building a relationship with players and things like that, because the type of player that's in the league today is different than the type of player that was 20 years ago. So, I mean, he'd probably be great for that standpoint, but in the sense of just, scheme and things like that, I don't really think a whole lot's going to change. So I'm indifferent about the hire. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's great. But I'm happy Mayo's getting an opportunity for sure. The last two things we're going to talk about with the coaches is that the Atlanta Falcons have now interviewed Bill Belichick twice, and they have a second interview with Jim Harbaugh. And as you guys know, I said that they should go Jim Harbaugh. I think it's a good fit for both teams. I think for Jim, you get to go to a team that's built a lot like the teams that you've been winning with, and then you could also handpick your quarterback. Now, Justin Herbert, that's not a slouch. That's a great quarterback and a great situation to have. But I'm just saying here, you could pick your own quarterback. You could start over your rookie pay scale, and this quarterback is not making crazy money. That you could continue building around the offense and building out your defense to make a real compelling team. On top of that, you're playing in the NFC South, which is not a good division. Just bringing Jim Harbaugh in by themselves, they are right now the best team in the division. That plain and simple. Let alone the things that they can add to Jim Harbaugh. So I think that's where he should go. And then obviously the NFC is a lot easier than the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. So here you are, maybe 2-3 years down the line, you have a real shot at making the Super Bowl. Those quarterbacks, that quarterback list is not as long in the NFC. What we talking about? Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, Dak, Jalen Hurts, like Jordan Love. Let's throw Jordan Love in there. Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford. I mean, like, they got some guys, but there ain't no Patrick Mahomes, no Josh Allen, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow, no Justin Herbert. Like, that list is no C.J. Stroud. That list is long in the Tua Tagovailoa in the AFC. So that's why I think Jim should go there. That's just me personally. Now, also, Jim has a second interview as well with the Los Angeles Chargers. From what I'm hearing, it's sounding like that may be where he's going, but I don't think it's by his choice. I actually think he would prefer to go to Atlanta. But Atlanta has now interviewed Bill Belichick twice, and it's really sounding like they're pushing hard to bring in Bill Belichick. That's what it's sounding like. But I think that would be a bad choice, me personally, by Atlanta. For the Chargers, if you could get Jim Harbaugh, I think it's cool. I think it's a solid hire, but I do not see the Chargers being a good team for the next year or two based off of salary cap issues that they have. They got to make decisions. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. People are leaving that team. People have to leave because Justin Herbert's contract's about to kick in, so people have to leave. So we'll see what happens from there. But that's our news so far on the coaching cycle. Let's see where it continues going. Oh, also real quick, Sirianni will be coming back to Philly. And they're talking about bringing in Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator, which I think it will be solid. Because also I think that Ron Rivera may mellow down the ego of Nick Sirianni. So I think that could be a good combination. And the Dallas Cowboys have already said that they're keeping Mike McCarthy, which I think I'm indifferent about. I'm indifferent. I don't think he should be fired, but if I could fire him and get Bill Belichick, yes, you do that. So I think that's my issue, is just that there's guys out there that I think will be better suited for that job, and you're not even entertaining it. That's my problem. So, but I mean, yeah, they're bringing him back. Dan Quinn is probably going to be gone this year. I think that he should go to Seattle. I think that Seattle should be trying to get him, or maybe even Ben Johnson. Honestly, I like Ben Johnson in Seattle. But if Dan Quinn leaves, obviously you have to find a new defensive coordinator. We'll go from there. So that's the coaching cycle news. Let's go ahead and get into the wild card week losers. We're going to focus only on the losers, not necessarily the games, just the losers. So the first thing we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers first, because I don't really have a whole lot to say about them, and I don't want to mess up the flow of the segment. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they played against the Buffalo Bills in the wild card game, as we all know. They lost. They scored 17. I think they lost 17-31 or 17-38, something like that. Anyways, if you watch the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers played well. They played well. They're just outmanned. They're just outmatched. They fought hard. They didn't have T.J. Watt. If T.J. Watt's there, that actually may have been a different type of game. It could have came down to the wire if T.J. Watt is out there playing. But obviously he got hurt in Week 18, so therefore he wasn't out there. It is what it is. But for them to fight and play as well as they did in those first couple quarters, the second half is when things started getting out of hand. So, I mean, they played very well. I don't really see a lot of glaring holes on the team. The only hole is just the quarterback spot. The offensive line started playing better. Ever since they switched offensive coordinators, they've been put in better situations. Now, also, that could also help the offensive line play better just because it's a new coordinator. Defenses wasn't knowing exactly what to expect. With the old offensive coordinator, everything was very predictable, so it was easier to defend the Pittsburgh Steelers because you knew exactly what was going to happen. There was no creativity in the offense. With the new one, there was some. So, I mean, regardless, the offensive line started playing better. You got your running back tandem and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. You got them. You got two good wide receivers, and George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Go ahead and run that. And also, I like Austin, too. I like Austin. And then, obviously, you got your tight end room. You're solid everywhere. You just need, and it's been proven, that Mason Rudolph got you guys to the playoffs. If you could just get an upgrade over Mason Rudolph, I think they can make some noise, kind of like the Cleveland Browns did this year. I really think so. So, like, if you tell me that you could get a guy like a Kirk Cousins, a guy like a Russell Wilson there to go, or maybe even a Jimmy Garoppolo. Sincerely, I don't like Jimmy G. But maybe even a guy like him, he is better than Mason Rudolph. You get a guy like that there, maybe we might be talking about something brewing in Pittsburgh. So I think that's all that they really need. I think that's all that they need to focus on. They lost this game just because they're outmanned and outmatched. They are a lightweight boxer come to a heavyweight fight. That's what it was. So they just need to focus on next year. Hey, you guys improved this year. You guys played well this year. Mike Tomlin's still a hell of a football coach. Just continue growing your roster. Just go ahead and get your quarterback. You need that ASAP. And yes, I'm saying give up on Kenny Pickett. Moving on now to the next team is the Cleveland Browns. Bro, man, the luck just finally ran out on them, man. The luck finally ran out. Eventually, we all knew Joe Flacco was going to go back to what Joe Flacco was. And that offense, eventually, bro, man, the injuries to them tackles and all them, the injury to Nick Chubb, all the injuries that they've dealt with was going to come back and get them one day. And that day was wild card week. Flacco threw back-to-back interceptions. The defense was put in bad positions all game. Bro, so between the second quarter and the third quarter, the Cleveland Browns combined for 99 yards. That's it. So that means every punt was short fields for the Houston Texans. Every punt. So the defense didn't stand a chance, let alone the two pick sixes that were thrown between the second and third quarter. The game's over. It's just that plain and simple. The game was over just off of those things by itself. So the offense did not put the defense in good positions, which allowed C.J. Stroud to go nuts. It allowed the entire offense to be open for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are not a good running football team, but it allowed all of that to be open. And when all that's open to the offense, good luck stopping them. Good luck stopping them. So what I personally think the Cleveland Browns should do in the offseason, obviously, you don't have a choice but to keep Deshaun Watson based off the contract that you gave him. So you just simply need him to become an above-average quarterback. That's it. If he becomes above average, you have a Super Bowl contending team. If he is just average, you guys will be in the playoffs next year. But that's all that you really need. Your offensive line will get healthier. Your tackles will get back. Your Nick Chubb will be back next year. So with those kind of things going on, Jerome Ford showed that he could be a really good complement to Nick Chubb. So with those things taking place, that's all that you need is just Deshaun Watson just to be an average or above average quarterback. He just cannot be trash again. And if he is trash again, y'all got to figure that out. Because it's time to figure out what you're going to do with him if he is trash again. That's now the third year going into this contract with him. Moving on now to the next team, man, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins. In wild card week, they played against the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City when it was negative, I want to say 4 degrees with a negative 27 with wind chill. Hey, bro, when you from Miami, man, you got to go to something like that, bro. It ain't going to bowl too well for you, playboy. It ain't going to happen. And that's exactly what happened in this game. Now, don't get it twisted, though. Like the Chiefs and no other team is used to playing in conditions like that. But when the Chiefs are used to playing in 20-degree weather, they're going to be more accustomed to playing in negative 27 than a team that's used to playing in at lowest maybe, 60-degree weather, 70-degree. Them boys still wearing shorts. And now they got to go to negative 27. That's a very drastic difference. Very drastic. So I personally think in this game, it's pretty simple. Weather and injuries destroyed the Miami Dolphins in this game. So with the weather, it made things tight and made players feel, more fatigued, things of that nature. Like, bro, when you walk outside, last week here in Ohio, when it was like negative 1 degree outside, I'm a truck driver. I deliver to schools. That's what I do. That's my day job. Well, night job. I work third shift. Bro, when you walk out there from your house or your car or whatever, and you first walk into that kind of air, bro, it like chokes you up. You kind of take a like one of those kind of, like it's one of them kind of feelings, and then like you could get back to breathing. Imagine you running in that and getting hit in that. Like, bro, it makes a drastic difference. So, but with the injuries, they had no pass rush at all. The pass rush was completely decimated. With the loss of Phillips and the loss of Chubb, they had nothing at all. And the weakness of the Chiefs team are the offensive line tackles. You couldn't attack them. So all the weight was on Ramsey and Wilkins to do everything. Ramsey can't defend everybody because also Xavier Howard was out. He can't defend every wide receiver. So you had to choose if you're going to try to slow down Kelsey or slow down Rice. And whoever he wasn't on, Patrick Mahomes was cooking that dude. And then when you got Christian Wilkins, I personally think the Chiefs have the best offensive line interior in the NFL. With Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, and Trey Smith, I think those three in the middle are the best in the league. And you telling me that Wilkins is out there completely by himself? Christian Wilkins has had a heck of a year. And he's played great football. But when he got to go against three guys, two guys that are all pros, another guy, in my opinion, and Trey Smith that should be an all pro, at least a pro bowler. Yeah, it's not going to work out well for you, Playboy. It's not going to work out well, and that's what happened. Let alone the elusivity of Patrick Mahomes. So then, with all that being the case, nobody showed up but Tyreek Hill. To me, Tyreek was the only guy that showed up. Now, granted, Tyreek, he's used to those elements. He's used to those conditions. Another issue with this team was that they went to Arrowhead, bro. Arrowhead is a hard place to play in. I will say Seattle, Arrowhead, and Buffalo, and Baltimore, maybe the hardest places to play in the NFL. So, man, when you go to those cities and go to those places, if you are not exposed to that on a regular basis, then, bro, man, it's a hard place to play. Now, we do have to get into Tua. We have to get into it. I don't think Tua played bad in this game, but he didn't sell me on anything in this game. But the one thing that I did get sold on is that I am concerned with Tua in inclement weather. I am. And that's a problem. That's a problem, especially when you play in the AFC East. You talking about the three other teams in his division are the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, and the New England Patriots. None of us will be shocked if it's -5 degrees in any of them places. None of us will be shocked if there's heavy snow, heavy rain, heavy winds in any of those places. That's going to be the hard part. So it's hard for me to see the Miami Dolphins having a real shot at winning anything if they are not the number one seed. Because based off what I've seen from Tua, I also have an issue with the offensive play calling and the offensive scheme. I think Mike McDaniel is an awesome head coach and an awesome play caller. I really do. I have an issue with the philosophy of the team, the way the team is built and things of that nature. They're built like you're playing Madden. This ain't Madden, bro. This is real life. On Madden, yeah, I could hurry up and run a pitch out to the left, and with Mostert running the speed of maybe 96 or something crazy, and all these light linemen that could pull and get out there and all those type of things. Eventually, I'm going to stop that stuff in real life. That's not happening the whole game. So now I need you to diversify your running game, and they can't because they're light in the butt cheeks, so they can't push nobody back. So now you cannot run the ball downhill. So any play action that's made in the A gap, I don't have to respect because you're not running it. You're not running that there. If I'm Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, the two inside linebackers for the Kansas City Chiefs, I see y'all do a play action Mostert right there. Go ahead. I ain't tripping. I see you do a play action on the outside, I'm going. But when you do a play action on the outside, you are so behind. And they don't necessarily do rollouts with Tua. They don't do boots too much. So with that being the case, when you do that, I know you're running it. And then also, every pass that you threw was like a screen, like a slant, like an RPO slant. Like, dude, you got to diversify the offense. It has to get diversified. And Until they could build the interior of that offensive line, nothing more can happen with that offense, and that offense is what it is. So what would I do this offseason if I was the Miami Dolphins? I'm not paying Tua yet. I need one more year. Let me get one more year of Tua. Tua, I'm never going to be afraid of paying him the highest amount in the league. I don't think that's his ceiling. So I don't think that's a fear. Your fear is trying to figure out where should he fall. Should he fall around the Kyler Murray price tag? Or should he fall closer to the Dak Prescott price tag? That's where we're talking. He's never going to get Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Well, nobody's getting the Deshaun Watson contract, so we could toss that. He's never getting that top dollar quarterback money. You're never going to pay him that. So that's what I would do. I would just hold off. I will wait, let him ride out his contract. I may just go ahead and pick up the franchise tag option right now just to give him a little bit of security. But that's the most I'm doing for Tua. Like I already said, you need to go ahead and build in the interior of your offensive line. It's time to let your left tackle go. Armstead is a beast, but he's always injured. Pretty much every year that he's been here, even going back to New Orleans, he got hurt all the time. It's time to let him go. Clear your books of that contract because you are about to be in a place where you got to start letting people go. And I will let him go before I let Christian Wilkins go. Do not let Wilkins leave that building. He cannot leave the building. Y'all need him. You absolutely need him. He may be your best defensive player on your defense. Keep him. But due to injuries, outside of that, I just bring everybody back on the defensive side. When you got Chubb back, Wilkins back, Phillips back, Xavier Howard back, Ramsey, bro, you have a real solid defense, a real solid philosophy. Just go ahead and roll with that, build that out. Moving on to the next team, man, the Los Angeles Rams. There's not really a whole lot to get into with this team, simply because the Lions were the better team. That's why the Rams lost. The Lions were better. They lost because they couldn't stop the running game. They couldn't stop the run. And if you look at the Rams defense, it's an extremely young defense. All you have is Aaron Donald. That's a proven commodity on the defense. So with that being the case, the Lions just took advantage of it. They took advantage of it. They ran the ball down their throat. There was nothing that they could do. Now, all credit to Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and that offense. They kept them boys in the game. They kept them in the game. And Matt Stafford played a phenomenal football game. So let's just go ahead and just get away from the game. Puka Nacua is a stud. Matt Stafford's a stud. Let's go ahead and move forward now. Only thing that I feel like they need to do, get linebacker help, obviously, because you have to be able to stop the run at some point. You have to. Get another big defensive tackle. Aaron Donald is the best defensive tackle in the league, but he's light in the butt cheeks. He's light. He's a lighter guy. That's why he's an elite pass rusher. He's more like a Warren Sapp than a Vince Wilfork. But you need a guy like a Vince Wilfork next to him. Look at the Super Bowl run. They went and picked up Ndamukong Suh. That allowed them to stop the run with Aaron Donald. So that's what I personally would do. Go get you a big D tackle. It doesn't even matter how great he is. Just get a big one to clog up lanes. Get a big defensive tackle. Get a couple linebackers. You ready to rock? One linebacker, because I like the rookie. I think his name is, I want to say his last name is Young. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I like him. I like him a lot. Just get another linebacker. Offensively, man, just keep building the offensive line up, man. Keep building the interior. Keep building up your offensive line so that you can work the play action game a little bit more. But other than that, bro, you're in a great place. Rams, you are far more ahead of schedule than what I predicted. Moving on now to the Dallas Cowboys. Once a word, trash. I remember back when I did the collab with my brother Shane Satterfield, and if you watch that episode, I remember we started talking about Dak, and at one point he asked me a question like, "What does Dak have to do for you to see him in a different light?" And I told him there's nothing he could do. I think he is what he is, and this year proved it once again. This man had an MVP caliber year. He was balling out. He went crazy. But in every single big game, he came up small. Except for the Philadelphia Eagle game, the second run around. Other than that, he never played, I thought exponentially well in any game that was big. And then here we are again against against the Green Bay Packers. All of you don't want to bring up the stats about what Dak did. Unless you want to talk about Lamar in a different light, do not talk to me about them stats. Lamar did the same thing against Tennessee a few years ago when the dude went for a combined like 400 or 500 yards total offense in that game. But guess what? Nobody showed that game any respect because Lamar messed up so much in the beginning that the game was over and that was just all empty calorie stats. We all know that. All of us know that. It's the same thing with this game. So Dak did not play well. The defense got manhandled. Aaron Jones and that Green Bay Packer offense ran all over them, which opened up the play action game, which opened up the play action boot game that Jordan Love started running to perfection against them. Romeo Dobbs running around here butt naked nasty or no. For real. For real. Like he was just wide open. Every time. Every bomb you saw, you're like, oh, what's going on? Oh, he open. Again. Same guy. It also this game proved that Bland is not a wide receiver. I mean, not a DB2. It's not been proven that he's a DB3, DB3 the way he was supposed to be. You gotta remember he was only in that spot because Diggs got hurt. That's the only reason why he was there. When he had to really, when the stuff got real, every time it got real against him, he got cooked. He got cooked against the Packers. He got cooked against DK Metcalf. He got cooked against every elite wide receiver he had to go against. He got cooked. Now, if the pass rush was booming, that's when he made those pick six plays. And let me be clear. You could be great at picking off passes, but not a good cover corner. There's a difference. Marcus Peters for years with Kansas City. For years with Los Angeles Rams. For years with the Baltimore Ravens. He was either catching a pick or he was giving up a 60-yard touchdown. One or the other. He was not a great coverage guy. And that's what Bland may be. He may just not be a great coverage guy. Michael Parsons got taken out of this game completely. They put him in conflict. They ran at him. They RPO'd at him. They did all those things at him. So they made him stop. And when you're a defensive end, you can't stop. You got to run through the entire time. And you got to diagnose whether it's a run or pass and react off of that as you're going. He's doing more of like a linebacker thing where you kind of like stop for a second, try to figure out what the offense is doing before you attack. And that right there killed the entire defense. It killed the entire defense. Now, nobody showed up to play, so it's not Micah's fault. It's not Dak's fault. It's not CeeDee Lamb's fault. It's not Bland's fault. It's nobody's fault because you know why? It's all of their faults. The coaching was terrible. The coaching was terrible in the game. There was nothing good about that game. To the point that, like, there's a part of me that just says, like, emotionally, if I was a Cowboy fan, I'll be like, blow the whole thing up. The whole thing up. I don't want none of these guys back. Emotionally as a Cowboy fan. Now, look at it realistically. You're not going to get nobody better than Dak. So you keep Dak. CeeDee Lamb is a wide receiver 1. He's a really good player. The issue, I think, with the offense is that Tony Pollard got put in a position he should never been put in, just like we said on this podcast on day 1. I think they should go after Derrick Henry, bring him in. You don't need a guy that's going to come in and just be Christian McCaffrey. You don't need that. Tony Pollard, he's a good player. Bring Tony back. Bring Tony Pollard back because now also his contract is going to dictate something different than what he would have gotten last year. So bring Tony Pollard back. Bring in a guy like a Derrick Henry. Maybe even bring Zeke back. I really don't know. But you just need to bring in a heavy back to do those hard yards, get those things going, beat up the defense a little bit so then Tony Pollard can now maintain his explosiveness throughout the entire season to where now when he gets that one break and one cut, because he's a one cut back, when you get that one cut, he could go. He could go. This is what I mean when I say one cut. A one cut back likes to run the ball, see the hole, and just plant and go. That's what they like to do. They don't really do a lot of the juking and shaking and all that kind of stuff. No, they plant and they're out. That's what Jamar Charles was for the Kansas City Chiefs years ago. One of my favorite players. I also think a thing that they should do defensively, I think they fell in love with Micah Parsons being a defensive end too much. Too much, because he is an elite pass rusher. He is. I'm not trying to say he's not. But I really think they should go back to putting him at middle linebacker and put him at defensive end on pass rushing plays. Meaning like plays like third down, maybe even first down, you put him at defensive end. But you do not put him at defensive end exclusively. Parsons was drafted as a linebacker. He is an elite athlete. His best position on the field is actually linebacker. Middle linebacker is actually his best position on the field. I think that will help go a long way with stopping the run. Because then also when you pull Micah back, you could put in a bigger defensive end. Because Micah is a smaller defensive end. He only weighs like 245 pounds. Look at DeMarcus Lawrence. He's like 260. So, like, you could get a bigger guy up there so that if they do run that way, he can hold up more and better than Micah Parsons can. And now Micah Parsons is free-flowing. And he could be a Fred Warner back there. He could be a Bobby Wagner. And he has the talent to do that. So that's what I would personally do. Put him more inside linebacker. I think that would help your defense a lot. Obviously, you get Trayvon Diggs back. That's going to help. Bring back Gilmore. You try to bring back Bland. If he demands too much money, you let Bland go. But honestly, I think that's really all that you have to do. It's just the coaching staff have to be a lot better. Mike McCarthy, you have to be better. It's that plain and simple. But other than that, bring everybody else back. Moving on to the final team that we're going to talk about from the wild card week losers is the Philadelphia Eagles. Bro, that's a dumpster fire. The team lost their way. They lost their way because they went 10-1. And when you go 10-1, bro, like you feel like you're doing things right. You feel like everything's flowing right. The one game was a hoax game. And it's hard to get that urgency to fix the things that are going wrong. And then when the things started going wrong, it was too late in the year. It was too late in the year because now you got injuries and all these things. So now it's too late to try to fix everything that's going wrong. Do I think A.J. Brown is a problem for the team? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think he's a guy that I would be willing to let go. I will say that much. Mainly because I am that much of a believer in Devontae Smith that I don't think that you necessarily need A.J. Brown. But I want A.J. Brown. I want him. But it's just, what's his mindset? What's his mindset and what is his goals? See, I'm not going to be one to sit here and say he's a selfish player because I don't think he's necessarily a selfish player. I just don't know what his goals are. That's more of an in the building conversation because AJ Brown is an awesome player. And an awesome dude, bro. Like, you hear why he wears the cleats he wears and all those kind of things. He's an awesome dude. But he is a big competitor. And I don't know if Jalen Hurts is the kind of guy that needs a wide receiver like that. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that needs that. Because based on the offensive scheme that he should be running a lot of RPOs. He should be running a lot of option like routes, and that's not AJ Brown. But when you run that type of offense, it's more of an opened offense. So you think back to when the Detroit Lions had Calvin Johnson with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford will always boom, 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 boom to Calvin Johnson, as he should. But as soon as Calvin Johnson left, Matt Stafford actually had the best year of his career because Calvin Johnson wasn't there. The field got to be wide open. He wasn't just solely focused on this one guy. He got to focus on everybody. And I kind of think that would help Jalen Hurts in many ways. So, just like I think it would help Tua in many ways if he just didn't always focus on Tyreek Hill. But it's hard not to focus on that guy. He's a dog. And the same with A.J. Brown, he's a dang on machine out there, bro. You got to get into football. But I think in this game what happened was just honestly the offensive scheme is stale. The offensive coordinator was not good. They did not run enough RPOs. And when they did run RPOs, it was just the same stuff that they did last year. So it was a very predictable offense, a lot like the Steelers before they did their coordinator change. As we all know, the Eagles has fired their defensive coordinator and their offensive coordinator. So we got somebody else coming in, and hopefully they could get Jalen Hurts. Hopefully, like a Baltimore Ravens thing could take place where they could get Jalen Hurts back to doing things that he's comfortable with, but they could build on it. That's what the Ravens offense really does not look a whole lot different. They just built on it. And that's what they need to do in Philly. Because now that eliminates the predictability of your offense and opens up the creativeness. The defense needs to be completely just shattered. Shatter the entire defense. Maybe bring back Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham just to have some stability, leadership. But Darius Slay is time. Brad Berry is time. Just everybody back there. Linebackers, you keep Nakobe Dean. You keep Dean. but you need to get him another real linebacker next to him. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decide to let go of Devin White because now they got the Brit boy in, if they could let go of Devin White, bring Devin White in, that pairing, they may be really good together, Nakobe Dean and Devin White. But the defense need to be completely stripped down. The only guys I say is untouchable, keep Nakobe Dean, keep Carter, keep Jordan Davis, and keep Riddick. Keep Riddick. Outside of them four, anybody else could go. I would just keep Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. But outside of that, everybody else could go. Dumpster fire. So, yes, I think that they need to get a big linebacker, like I said, like a Devin White. You need to rebuild the entire secondary. The offensive line need to look themselves in the mirror and recognize who they really are. Who they really are. They did not perform well this year at all, in my opinion. Everybody kept wanting to say that they were one of the best offensive lines in the league. It did not look like it to me. When you turn on that tape and you watch those games, Jalen Hurts was getting rushed a lot. We'll see what happens with Jason Kelce. I think that he will retire. I think it's time. It's time. He's due. It's time for him to retire. Time for him to just go and enjoy life. But Lane Johnson, we'll see. I think that he has some more left in the tank, but I wouldn't be shocked if he retired as well, because also him and Jason Kelce are like that. So I wouldn't be shocked. But all in all, I think they just need to get new coordinators, a fresher system, understand who Jalen Hurts is, and they're off to the races again. Moving on now to the divisional games, bro, the games that took place this past weekend. We're going to go over these real quick, go over the NFC and AFC championship games, and then we out of here. So with the divisional games, bro, the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens, man. First of all, CJ Stroud, you was amazing last week. You was a complete dog last week. You picked apart a man coverage-based defense in the Cleveland Browns, which a lot of people was wondering if you could do. I didn't have no issue. I had no thoughts about that. But, hey, man, you was excellent last week. But what happened this week was the run game got shut down completely. And the pass game, you don't have the wide receivers to attack the Baltimore Ravens. And then to top all that off, Laramie Tunsil, and I want to say the right tackle's name is Fant. Bro, I remember one drive, they had got like 3 false starts in a row. The environment was nuts. That's the mark of a young football team. They're a young team. That was their first time playing a road playoff game together. And they had no idea what to expect. And when that Baltimore crowd got the rocking and rolling, doing like Baltimore does out there in Baltimore, they didn't know how to respond to it. So, yeah, the run game was non-existent. The offense was completely overwhelmed. The defense held up for the first half, but they held up by blitzing a lot. D'Amico Ryans does not blitz that often. In this game, he came out guns blazing, like Todd Bowles level, like blitzing. And the thing with that was, it knocked the Ravens back by surprise. They weren't prepared for that. And then I heard a rumor that Lamar Jackson went into halftime and he told Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, like, hey, bro, they're blitzing the hell out of me. Let's go to this stuff. Let's stop trying to take these shots. Let's go to this stuff and we will destroy this defense. And that's how much Lamar Jackson's grown. And that's how much the Ravens have grown. They listened to Lamar. They did that. The second half, it was no contest. Lamar MVP second half. So, man, that's pretty much what happened in this game. Kyle Hamilton is a freaking dog defensively. The thing with the Baltimore Ravens defense, there's no holes. They're only special in two spots in my opinion. Linebacker and Kyle Hamilton. That's it. They're not special nowhere else. They're just above average everywhere else. Literally everywhere else. Marlon Humphrey above average. Jadeveon Clowney above average. Like everywhere else, they're above average. So with that being the case, man, once you get worn down, those boys can pounce. And that's exactly what they did. They pounced on them. I also would say that the way Lamar is throwing the football right now, I don't know how people's going to stop him. The dude was making sidearm throws, throwing the ball in tight coverages, tough spots. And these wide receivers are playing, man. They're playing well. And Lamar gets to play with the openness of the offense. OBJ ain't demanding the ball. Zay Flowers ain't demanding the ball. Like Nelson Aguilar, well, he can't demand the ball. But Isaiah likely is becoming a stud. I don't know what they're going to do when they get Mark Andrews back, because that dude is out there balling out. So yeah, I mean, just Lamar, MVP Lamar. That's all it is. They're using their weapons great. The thing I'm most impressed with Lamar, I've been impressed with all season. He's using his legs as a weapon, not as a philosophy. What I mean when I say that is like when the defense, hey, you turn your back to me, I'm gone. But if you make me pass the ball, that's cool. That's cool. I'm going to hang in this pocket. I'm going to carve you up. And that's exactly what Lamar's doing. So, man, hey, great job by the Baltimore Ravens. You handled your business. You did what you're supposed to do. Moving on to the next game. We're going to go ahead and go to the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. Man, this game was an interesting game, and I actually thought that Green Bay had a shot in this game. Houston, I didn't really give them a shot. But Green Bay, I gave them a shot in this game because the San Francisco's rushing defense is highly overrated. So, see, San Francisco has a good ranking as a rushing defense, but they actually are not a good rushing defense. They are a good pass rushing defense. The issue is that when you get a lead, and that's what the 49ers do, they get leads. Their offense is so dominant, they will get a lead. So once they get up by like 2 touchdowns, the opposing team is now throwing the ball more than running. So just naturally, it's common sense. When one team is running the ball only 20 times in the game, and most teams are running the ball 40 times in the game, yeah, you're going to get less rushing yards if you only run the ball 20 times. That's what happens for the 49ers. But if you can maintain that game to be close so you can run the football, they have a hard time slowing that down. A very hard time. Their defensive line are pass rush specialists. Because of how much Fred Warner makes, he's the run stopping linebacker. They got a bargain in Greenlaw, and I like Greenlaw. Greenlaw got game. But Greenlaw is not like a thumper. He's not that kind of guy. It's Fred that has to do most of that stuff. So with that being the case, man, that's what Green Bay did. They came out, they ran the ball, and they controlled the clock in the first half. Dominated the clock. In the first quarter, I want to say the score was 3-0. And I want to say that Green Bay went for it on 4th down late in the first quarter. And I absolutely agree with it. Now, they didn't get it because they were on the San Francisco 14-yard line. My only issue is I did not like the play call. That's what my problem was. I think they should have did an RPO. The running game was working in a good way. Aaron Jones was running well to maybe try to get that 1 yard. So you run an RPO option so that if they clutter the middle, you can release to Dobbs or Christian Watkins or whoever you want to put over there. That's what I think they should have did, but they didn't. So they didn't convert the 4th down. Going to the second quarter, man, then Niners finally got Christian McCaffrey going. Once they got him going, they started opening up the offense, and that's when eventually you got the touchdown for George Kittle because now Brock Purdy was able to play off of that. But in the second half, Green Bay was hanging in there until they threw the interception, the first interception. Once they threw that interception to Greenlaw, that's when things started really going bad for Green Bay, and that's when they started losing grip of the game. 49ers did what they're supposed to do in closing the game, but Jordan Love threw the costly interception at the end of the game that I think was a terrible pass and doesn't make sense to me at all. No matter how many times I watched that play, I have no idea what he was doing. That's the mark of a young quarterback doing a young quarterback thing. It was a very stupid pass and a dumb mistake. But I have one major concern with the Niners in this game. One, health. Deebo Samuel got hurt. As always, somebody always gets hurt from the 49ers. My bigger issue, though, is Brock Purdy. Specifically, Brock Purdy in bad weather. We've seen 2 games where he played in inclement weather. In both games, he did not play well. Now, I will say this. In the first game was against the Cleveland Browns earlier this year. I will give Brock Purdy this, though. Both of those games, he put the game-winning drive together to give his team a shot to win the game. This time it went through. Against Cleveland, the kicker missed a field goal at the end of the game. He missed a game-winning field goal. So I will give Brock that. When it's time to put it together, he put it together. But Brock right now, he's kind of struggling with some reads, and he's trying to guide the football instead of leading the football. When I say that, I mean it like this. He's trying to put it in a perfect spot for and to make the perfect pass every single time to his receivers. Bro, you just got to let that thing fly sometimes. Let that thing rip. You think Josh Allen was trying to throw a perfect pass at Diggs on that 65-yard bomb? No, he saw that man go, and he's like, shoot, I'm about to let this thing fly. He let it fly. Diggs didn't hold up his end, but he let that thing fly. Sometimes, man, that's what you got to do. He's putting too much pressure on himself right now, and that could be a bad sign going to the next game against Detroit. Speaking about Detroit, let's go ahead and get into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions game. Tampa hung in there, man. They hung in there, and they hung in there by attacking the passing game, attacking through the passing game. That was their only chance of winning this game. I gave Tampa a chance to win this game. They had a shot because Detroit's pass defense is not very good. Their only pass defensive bright spot is honestly C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Aiden Hutchinson. That's it. Everybody else is trash against the pass. So when you got guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin walking in here, yeah, you could do some things. But the thing is, the offensive line of the Buccaneers is not a good offensive line. So that was the thing that made the game go the way that it went. Now also, Detroit Lions, without a running game, you guys struggle. You guys struggled without a running game. Yeah, I know you're going to talk about, well, Gibbs eventually broke loose. Yeah, he did. He did break loose eventually. But he broke loose because the defense was tired. The defense was exhausted because there was a lot of 3-and-outs by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At that point in the game, in the fourth quarter, and that's what the Lions can do, though. They could wear you down. And that's what they did. They wore down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, and they eventually was able to start just killing them in the fourth quarter. Hey, that's kudos to a winning football team. That's a winning football team thing. So, great job by the Detroit Lions, not taking no credit away. Jared Goff, you played a fantastic game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number one wide receiver in this league. I love your team. I love what you guys are doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Just do not turn the ball over. Moving on now to the next game, we got to the last game, actually. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. Man, this was a fantastic football game. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdowns. I mean, it was awesome. This was Kansas City's best offensive football game that they played all season. Actually, I would say their best game that they played as a team all season. And that's what you expect, man, when you got Patrick Mahomes going against Josh Allen. That's exactly what you expect. You expect the best out of both of them. And Josh Allen was fantastic in this football game. Fantastic. I do not agree with anybody that says Josh Allen is the blame of this football game. He is not the blame. He's not. And with that being the case, let's go ahead and get into that. My issue with Josh Allen is not with Josh Allen himself, more times than not. It's more so with Josh Allen fans and apologists. That's what bothers me. Josh Allen fumbled the ball on the drive to try to win the game. They got it back, so it didn't matter. He missed Stephon Diggs in the flat. I'm not as mad about that because Shakur was wide open off that post route. And, hey, Chris Jones made a play. He bumped Dawkins into Josh Allen. Josh Allen couldn't get his foot under him to throw that ball, and that's why that ball was so short-armed. So I see what Josh is looking at. I'm not faulting him on that. The next play I will fault him on, he tried to make a hero play. Instead of trying to get a first down, he tried to get a touchdown. And that's what caused you to have to go into a field goal situation. Granted, the guy should have still made the field goal. This is my issue, though. Everybody's acting like that would have won the game. No, it wouldn't have. Patrick Mahomes would have still had 1 minute and 40 seconds left with 3 timeouts, bro. The likelihood is that you still lose the game. Even if that play is made, you still are probably going to lose. That's Patrick. That's 1-5 back there. And the way 1-5 was cooking, the way 8-7 was cooking, the way Rice was cooking, even with Rice being hurt, he still was making plays. The Valdez-Scantling, he showed up yesterday. Isaiah Pacheco, Edwards-Helaire, all of them were making plays. You had no pass rush. Your pass rush was non-existent. Von Miller's over the hill. He's done. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say he's done. He's more of a situational pass rusher now. He only needs to be coming in to play half of the defensive snaps at this point. But he's done as far as every down. Ed Oliver, he doesn't exist in this game. You know why? Because the Chiefs have the best offensive line interior in the NFL, and that's where Ed Oliver plays. He's not beating Creed Humphrey. He's not beating Joe Tooney. He's not beating Trey Smith. That's not happening. So with those things being the case, bro, like y'all were not going to stop the Chiefs on that last drive. You weren't winning that game. Period. You weren't going to win that game. So stop blaming Josh Allen. But my issue is stop trying to bloviate about what he did. He did not play better than Patrick Mahomes in that game. He didn't. He was good. He was very good. Patrick Mahomes was better. Do you realize that Patrick Mahomes had the ball like half the time that Josh Allen did? And this team still put up more points? Come on now, bro. It's not rocket science. We don't have to protect Josh Allen. I don't know why we all act like that you have to protect him. You don't have to. He's a great quarterback. It goes Pat, Gap, Lamar, Burrow, and Allen, whatever order you want. One of them three are the second best quarterback in the NFL. We don't have to protect Josh. We don't have to. So let's stop, please. Back to the game, though. The Bills did not capitalize on some plays, man. You had Shakur. You had number 16. I forget that young man's name. He tried to make a diamond catch. He did need to extend. That was going to be a tough catch. But, man, if he was able to make that play, it would change maybe the game. You had Stephon Diggs on that 65-yard bomb and dot by Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs dropped that ball. They did not make the championship plays. This is that plain and simple. But, hey, great game. I thought I thought the Chiefs defense played well going against what they were going against. Because, see, a lot of the Bills' injuries happen on the defensive side, but offensively they are a rather healthy team. When you deal with a guy like Josh Allen, bro, that's a lot to deal with. And the Chiefs hung in there. They played well. They gave the offense a chance to win, and the offense won the game. So now let's go ahead and move on now to the conference championship preview games. We got 2 games now, bro. We are finally down to 2 games, which is wild. Man, we got the Detroit Lions at the San Francisco 49ers, and we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go to the NFC side first and talk about Detroit and Niners. How can Detroit win this game? They need to expose the Niners' run defense. Just run the ball. I simply think it's that plain and simple. Just run the ball, because then once they maintain that running game, they can start hitting them with the play-action game. And once they get to the play-action game, that's going to slow up Nick Bosa. Put Nick Bosa in conflict. Play action towards him. Go ahead and do boots towards him. Do read option RPOs towards him. Do everything towards him. Attack Nick Bosa. Even run the ball at Nick Bosa. He's light in the butt cheeks also. Run the ball at him. So you're going to push him back. Penei Sewell is pushing back Nick Bosa. And I love Nick. Nick's a dog. He's a dog. He's not a good run stopper. Run at him. Wear him out, so then when you are in passing situations in shotgun, that man is tired. And he's not getting to Jared Goff and around Penei Sewell if he is exhausted. Go ahead and do that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to cook Ward. Hey, I know all about Ward. He used to be a Kansas City Chief. He ain't all of that, bro. He's not all of that. Solid player, but you ain't winning because you got him at DB. It ain't happening. So you wearing him out as well. Josh Reynolds, keep doing what you do. Jameson Williams, you keep doing what you do as well. Sam Laporta, you're going to have to dominate Greenlaw. Fred Warner cannot guard Greenlaw in this game. They're going to have to guard Laporta in this game. You need to go Dre Greenlaw. The reason why I say that is because Fred Warner is your best run stopper, and the Lions should be running the ball at their necks. So that's what I would do. Is if Detroit do that, they have a real shot at winning this football game. For the Niners, Detroit has one of the best run-stopping defenses in the NFL. You need to try to maintain a running game against them. As long as you maintain a running game against them, now you can start hitting them with the play-action pass, get to the stuff that you like to get to, the misdirections, and then you're going to completely destroy the Detroit Lions defense. Whenever Detroit's played against elite offenses in this league, they have not held up very well. So with that being the case, I am picking the San Francisco 49ers to win this game. I think they're going to make more plays offensively, and I think that they will get the stops at the end against the pass to win the game finally. Going to the Kansas City Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens should be the overwhelming favorites in this game. I think the line is only like -3. I think this line should be more like -5, -6. Baltimore has no flaws. So I think the only way the Chiefs can maintain a good offense is by having an efficient running game. Use your biggest strength. Joe Tooney has to play. use your biggest strength, run through your interior. Get the run game going. You can open up the play action pass, and maybe you can start working out some things. Do not run at Kyle Hamilton. Don't throw at Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton, he's going to have to pick whether he's going to guard Rashid Rice or Travis Kelce. If Marlon Humphrey comes back this week, now we got more problems, because now you can put Humphrey on Rice and you can put Kyle Hamilton on Kelce. I don't think the Chiefs have the other wide receivers to make the plays that are necessary to win the game. So we'll see how that goes. The defensively for the Chiefs, Chris Jones has to be an absolute terror and a beast, and they have to cause turnovers. This game will have to be won by the defense for Kansas City to win this football game. For the Ravens, just do what y'all do, man. Just focus on running the football, maintaining your run, maintain your philosophy. Defensively, do not over pursue. That's the only thing I will say. Do not over pursue. But these are the kind of games that 1-5. That boy 1-5 on that other side. He pulls things out his hat. If you're telling me to pick with my mind and pick who should truly win this football game, it should truly be the Baltimore Ravens. But I'm never going to pick against my boys in 1-5. Never. And the only way I see us winning this game is by 1-5 doing some magical things. That's the only way I see us winning this game. So, hey, y'all, man, that's the end of our episode. That's the end of Knowing True Ball this week. Hey, bro, we are in the conference championship games. I can't wait to see him get to going. Hey, man, everybody be good. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy yourself. Hey, keep focusing on your health. Focus on your mental health as well. If you need help, seek it. Don't try to be tough about it. We're all here to have a good time for a long time. Hey, this is Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Peace.